How you doing, boxing fans? This is Boxing Knowledge coming at you with my fourth video on the. Actually, it's my third video. I've been recording this video like 100 times. All right, I don't know what's wrong with my computer, but let's get to it. It's about Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s boxing resume. It's one of the videos on the series of videos that I will be doing, building up to the potential mega fight. Next summer, hopefully. The projected estimate date is May 1st between these two gentlemen, Pacquiao and Mayweather Jr. So let's get down to his resume, guys. And first, I'm going to start off being a little bit critical of Floyd Mayweather Jr., but I'm also going to give him props where props are deserved. He said he's fought 13 world champions. I don't dispute that, okay? But actually, how many of those world champions have been, in essence, Hall of Famers, okay? Let's check it out. His last fights: Juan Manuel Marquez, Ricky Hatton, Oscar De La Hoya, Carlos Valdemir, Zab Judah. I'm going to skip Mitchell. I'm going to go with Arturo Gatti. And a few before that was Philip Nadu. You know, Juan Manuel Marquez and Ricky Hatton. Those are his last two fights. This is oddly enough. This is a coincidence. Check this out. His last two fights, the first of his last two fights was with Ricky Hatton. He was criticized for picking a smaller guy. He was a junior welterweight, of course, undefeated, 140-pounder. Ricky Hatton at this juncture had probably fought two fights at 147, but nonetheless was the king of the 140-pound division. He moved up, fought Floyd Mayweather Jr. effectively. He pressured Floyd Mayweather Jr. and was able to win some rounds, okay? If not most of the rounds, before he got TKO'd in the 10th. It is not a blueprint to beat Floyd Mayweather Jr. There is no blueprint to beat this man, but we can all see in an obvious way that those who are able to pressure him, pin him down, press him against the ropes, and unleash barrages of punches will be more effective, and it'll frustrate just a little Floyd Mayweather Jr. So that's the most effective way to fight him: cutting off the ring and pinning him down. It's just a lot harder to do it. Let's get back to what we were saying. The first of his last two fights was against Ricky Hatton. He picked a small man. He beat him. I don't give him any respect, although Ricky Hatton was an undefeated world champion. He is by no means a Hall of Famer. Then for his last fight, his next fight, he picks an even smaller man. He went out from picking a 140-pounder to a 135-pounder, a man who only fought, maybe twice at 135 pounds. And the only reason why Juan Manuel Marquez moved up was to chase Manny Pacquiao, but he landed a big fight with Mayweather, and he picked an even smaller man. He went from 140 pounds to 135 pounds. Okay? So you gotta discredit Floyd Mayweather Jr. for his boxing clinic, because it was a boxing clinic, against Juan Manuel Marquez. I would have given him just a little bit more respect if he would have knocked him out, but he wasn't even able to do that. Granted, you gotta give respect to Juan Manuel Marquez's boxing IQ, which basically did not allow Floyd Mayweather Jr. to land the punches necessary to knock him out. So, totally discredit him with Juan Manuel Marquez and Ricky Hatton. Why? Because there were two smaller men. He went from one small man to an even smaller man. But I have to say, Juan Manuel Marquez is a legendary Mexican fighter, and I would put him in the Hall of Fame any day of the week and twice on Sunday. Let's move on. Let's give Mayweather respect where respect is due. He fought Oscar De La Hoya. He was slightly past his prime. Nevertheless, he fought him at 154 pounds, close to Oscar De La Hoya's walk-around weight. He edged out a split decision in the most lucrative boxing match in the history of the sport. This is what irks me, though. After beating Oscar De La Hoya via split decision, and I'm one of those who believe that he did win that fight, he was offered a rematch with the potential to make even more money, yet he refused. He said he wanted to retire and whatnot and come back. And who in the right mind would turn down a rematch with a fighter that you just beat, and you know you're going to get 30 to 40 million dollars for it? That's Mayweather Jr. for you. I guess he didn't want to risk losing his undefeated status. I'm just speculating. I don't know, but you got to give Mayweather nonetheless the credit for a victory over Oscar De La Hoya at 154 pounds. Let's move on to Carlos Valdemir. Who is Carlos Valdemir? Carlos Valdemir was a journeyman fighter who at the time of fighting Mayweather had 9 losses, which doesn't matter. But Carlos Valdemir's only claim to greatness was his 2 fights before that fight. One with Zab Judah, who he took the titles from. Zab Judah was just being Zab Judah. He gassed out, and Valdemir made him pay for it. And 2, with who was it? Oh yeah, Arturo Gatti. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but I'm coming to you all the way from Atlantic City, New Jersey. I'm from Atlantic City, born and bred, and Arturo Gatti was the king of Atlantic City. Huge fan base, second to none. He owned this town, he owned this state. So, very popular fighter, the biggest heart I've ever seen, but nevertheless is not a Hall of Famer. So, Carlos Valdemir was just a man who beat 2 world-class fighters. He was a world-class fighter himself. He actually became Mayweather's sparring partner afterwards, but not an all-time great. I got to give Floyd Mayweather Jr. respect for not only fighting but beating Zab Judah. At the time, that was the fight that everybody wanted to see. Zab Judah was in his prime. You got to give him credit for it. He beat Zab Judah fair and square. Nothing bad to say about that. More props to him. He fought Arturo Gatti. I got to give him props for that as well. He beat Arturo Gatti. He was not an all-time great, but you know, he beat him fair and square, and he was an elite fighter at the time. And I'm not going to go into Philip Nadeau and you know, all these other fighters that he fought, but I will give him respect for one more fight, which is against Diego Corrales. At the time, he was a very feared man in the super featherweight division, and he just beat him. He TKO'd him in the 10th round. No one thought he was going to win, but he did, and he did so easily. So much respect to Diego Corrales. I mean, sorry, to Mayweather beating the late Diego Corrales. He's not a Hall of Famer, but he was a very good world champion. Something interesting that I will say, Jose Luis Castillo is the only man to fight Floyd Mayweather Jr. twice. Floyd Mayweather Jr. does not give rematches. And the only reason why he gave Jose Luis Castillo a rematch was because the boxing community was outcrying to give this man a rematch. At the time of the rematch, Jose Luis Castillo, who was Jose Luis Castillo? He was the former WBC lightweight champion. He wasn't necessarily a big draw, virtually unknown to the mainstream boxing community and media. But one can only assume, and I'm speculating here, but I mean, you know, everything points to the direction that Mayweather doubted in his mind whether he won that fight or not. He said he was hurt, maybe he was, but bottom line is he lost that first fight. Give him a rematch, won a commanding unanimous decision. Give him respect for that. But nevertheless, he lost against Jose Luis Castillo. So, Floyd Mayweather Jr. is a lot like Roy Jones Jr. Very extremely gifted and talented boxing professionals who fought no one most of their career. I've already posted a video on Manny Pacquiao's resume. I hope it loaded fine. I hope all my thoughts are on there. But there's a huge difference, guys. And in order to classify and question a fighter's all-time greatness, you have to look at the level of opposition that he has faced. When you compare Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s boxing resume, Manny Pacquiao's resume, there is no comparison. Manny fought the best of the best in his division, and furthermore, chose to fight even bigger guys every single time. He fought Ricky Hatton, moved up to 140, moved up to 140, 45, 47, the welterweight division, and beat Miguel Cotto. He's knocked all these guys out, you know. So you guys make the assessment. Everything I've just told you in regards to who he has fought are facts. My sources are obviously Wikipedia and BoxingRec.com. Check it out, guys. Make your own assessment, and please leave your comments. I'm not a pretty boy Floyd hater. He's a master technician, and he will be the favorite, as well as he should be coming into this fight. So I'm going to keep posting videos so that I get to the culmination and let you guys know why I believe Manny Pacquiao is going to win this fight. Leave your comments, guys, and don't forget to subscribe. Later.